Here he is, the Mad Kai, the narcissist himself, Fused Zamasu. Welcome everybody to my in-depth guide on Fused Zamasu from Dragon Ball Super. Now, for this guide, we'll be going over the Staminabreaks, of course, infinite loops. I'll show you how to properly utilize his 5 unique skills in combos and without, because he's also got a charge skill that's unique to him. And we'll go over optimization after that, and at the very end, we'll do some tech. Now, first off, I will have to mention this. The reason I am posting a guide on him and not waiting for the custom variation is plain and simple because I do not think he's going to get a custom key in this update. If he gets a custom key, I will genuinely be surprised, because Dimps, they seem to have a vendetta against this character, and I'll get into why I think that is in a bit. But a lot of you on that recent poll that I put up on my channel, a lot of you said that you wanted Fused Zamasu to get the key the most. A lot of you think that Fused Zamasu is the character that needs a custom key and custom variation the most out of any cast in the game, aside from Teen Gohan. And I could not agree with you more. This character is one that I'm quite passionate about. He is a lot of fun to play, even though whenever I play him, a lot of the times it causes people to rage or rage quit on me because he can be quite frustrating to fight in the right hands. But most people do not use him because his skills are kind of bad, to be honest. But the main big reason why the majority of people don't even touch this cast is plain and simple because of this. Watch this damage. This is your best combo. This is your highest damaging string right there, besides this one here. But as you see right there, look at how little damage he does. He is one of the lowest damaging cast in the game. He cannot hurt you with any single attack at all, or even just a basic combo. In order to actually cause your opponent to have a reason to use their stamina, you have to loop a combo over and over and over again with this guy, because he never got that damage buff that the majority of the cast received in that one update. He's just like Teen Gohan, Future Gohan, Nail, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, characters like that. He did not get the update that he should have gotten. And the other reason that I'll get into that whenever I get into the skills. But for now, without further ado, why don't we get into those Staminabreaks, shall we? So for Fused Zamasu's Staminabreak combo setups, he does not have very many reliable ones, and most of them are quite situational, and one of them is actually very situational, costs stamina, and is incredibly difficult to time. But I'm going to show you them all, just so you know what options you have. Though I will be honest with you people, he probably has some of the worst Staminabreak combos in the game. They're just so terrible. They either make them recover stamina way too fast, making you have to break them immediately, or they're just so situational that it's not even worth trying. But the first option that he has is this, and this is not consistent, people. After this little spin kick, it can vary. The stun on it can vary. It has a gap on it that can be completely random, depending on the RNG of the stun rate. As you see right there, it did drop. I'll go ahead and put it on guard from start so I can show you what I mean. It worked right there. It's fairly consistent compared to most gappy combos like this, but it still has an inconsistent stun rate, which leads to you kind of having to guess if your stamina break is going to work or not. And being online does not make this more consistent either. It's working perfectly now. But as I'll show you, as it'll probably do in a bit. Yep, I freaking called it. As you see right there, it has a gap that is randomly chosen by the games. I really don't understand what is with Dimson not making certain combos like this not have consistent stun rates. But that's one option you have. And the other option you have is the same story. This is not consistent at all. After this little shockwave, after this shockwave here, it can vary. The stun is very inconsistent. And if you do it like that, they're pushed way too far back to even try it. So you have to always charge it. And even after charging it, the stun is not consistent. As I'll try and demonstrate to you real quick. Yep, there you go. I predicted it, and it happened. See that? Inconsistent gap on that one too. Both of his stand strings do not have consistent break windows. So just keep that in mind. Then the other option that he has is this. Keep in mind though, you are spending stamina to do this. This will also link a heavy. And that also applies to this combo here. Then he's also got this one, though keep in mind if there is a bad amount of lag, this will not work. However, if the connection is good or just a little bit stable, this is your best option. Always go for this if the connection is stable. This will always work. It stuns their stamina recovery, and it is just the fastest option you have. Because this next option I'm going to show you is not fast, and if you want to get it off, your opponent has to be the absolute minimum stamina required to vanish, or even just move in general. Because after this little spin kick, do you see how fast their stamina started recovering after that? Yeah, if you try and initiate that combo when they're anywhere above a quarter of a bar of stamina, they will have time to vanish out of it. That especially applies if you do it like this instead. If you do it like that instead, it sometimes works a little better because those little slash waves do kind of stun their stamina recovery a bit, but that's not what I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you this. If you add blasts, if you add his little triangle blasts into this combo here, stamina starts recovering really fast, especially if you add more than one of those blasts. Also, I should mention, if you can get it off, which is very, very hard to do and is probably not going to work, but you can do this as well. If you are hitting your opponent with these outright raw like this, you actually can just rush in and use that stamina break window that I showed you earlier, and it's actually pretty consistent. You can also get it off after a back hit. Keep in mind though, this requires you to back hit them, which back hits are very, very hard to hit people with in this game now because they upgraded the amount of iframes you get whenever you do this nonsense. But that's besides the point. Then the other option that he has is this, and this is very difficult to do. This is the one that I was alluding to earlier when I said it costed stamina to perform, was very situational. Right there is pretty much the window. I messed up there because this is difficult, people. You gotta be on the ground and you gotta flick your stick down as soon as you vanish. And you can't vanish too fast because if you do, watch this. It misses. See? You got to make sure that you vanish on the other side of your opponent, otherwise it will not work. And using a heavy stamina break it's got comparable speed to his light stamina break, but it's just a tad bit too slow. Otherwise it would work. It's the same heavy stamina break as Rose Goku Black, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is pretty much the exact same animation. And then the final stamina break window that he has is this. Although, keep in mind, as I'm going to show you, it's this combo here. After that little shockwave where he like does a little T-pose there, you cannot do this anywhere outside of directly on the ceiling. Your enemy has to be touching their head on the ceiling. It has to be colliding with the ceiling to create collision so that you can have enough time to hit them with that stamina break. And so that they're in the right position. Once again, flick your stick down just like the one I did on the ground earlier. Otherwise, the camera angle will mess you up. And this will also link heavy. But anyways, that is pretty much it for his stamina break setups, everybody. As you see from what I told you earlier, they're not very good. He's got some very unreliable options, to be honest. He does not have a single, like, consistent, reliable option. All of them are very situational or just very inconsistent and unreliable. But now that you've seen all that, why don't we get into those infinite loops where he actually does kind of have some very good loops. Alright, so to get into Fused Zamasu's infinite loops, first off, he has his triangle string. You can loop every single one of these blasts up until that one. That's where you start losing it, because it pushes them just a little bit too far back. Though, if you're having trouble with that, you can always just fly in. Or you can dash in. Back it with triangle and then start it again, like that. And then the very last blast, as you saw right there, knocks them away. You cannot loop it with a key blast. However, you can restand them with that one combo. And continue after that, like that. See? You don't have much time to do it. You have to do it like immediately. Keep track of how many blasts you're shooting. After back hitting and going into triangle, it's 7 where they start when they get sent back. However, it turns into 8 if you just do the first blast raw. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? It changes a number depending if you start it with the back hit or not, because that back hit still counts as a heavy hit. That's the trick to it. Keep track of how many you're shooting, and you'll get this combo loop eventually. Then the other thing that he has is this. If you want to be a real cheeky bastard, you can do something like this. It's just a little funny loop. This is a very good way to harass your opponent. Very, very efficient at harassing them, making them use their stamina, because it's just annoying to get hit by. Like, even if it doesn't do a lot of damage, people are still going to snap vanish out of this because it's just annoying to get hit by. Nobody wants to get stuck in this combo forever. And then he's got this one here. As long as the connection is stable, just like the stamina break involving this combo, this will always work without the need of a stamina break first. Keep in mind, though, the connection has to be good. Like, yellow bar at the absolute lowest good. And then the other loop that he has is this one. After that kick, you're going to back hit with triangle, rinse and repeat. Though keep in mind, online, if there is a ton of lag, this cannot work sometimes. Also, you've got to commit into this little spin kick here. If you don't, they will just drop out of it. But as you see right there, it's very efficient. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but the main thing about this is that it's a very good way to bait your opponent. You can either shoot the blast that way by holding your stick opposite of your opponent, or if you're not going to, you can immediately change directions. That's the good thing about his heavy combo. It's got a lot of utility. Then he's got this one here, and this one's probably your best option, to be honest. In terms of damage, and in terms of the fact that you just cannot get out of this outside of evasives and limit burst. If your opponent tries to vanish this combo, good luck. They're just never going to be able to do it online. The hitbox is just too big, and because of the fact that it pushes them so far back from you, they don't have the proper distance to snap vanish. And as for evasives, actually, this is anti-instant rise because of this hit right here. Those shockwave attacks that he does during this combo will always catch somebody out of instant rise. Even Mastered UI Goku's instant rise is not safe from this combo. It is an anti-instant rise combo, which is extremely good because instant rise, as we all know, is possibly the best evasive in the game, making it extremely popular. Which means you're going to run into it a lot, and this is extremely useful against countering that. So if your opponent has instant rise as their evasive, they're going to be having a lot more trouble with you, ironically enough. Despite how low tier this character is. This combo is extremely efficient at stopping people from evasiving. And because it's something they can't vanish out of, their only choice is to limit burst, basically, at that point. Or time their evasive perfectly. But that's pretty much it for his infinite loops, everybody. Why don't we get into those skills now? Okay, so now for his skills. Fused Zamasu has 5 in total. And his first one is Holy Wrath. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is another one of his fatal shortcomings. His skills kind of suck. Especially this one. Holy Wrath, its damage is abysmal. Even if you fully charge this thing, and just look at how long it takes for me to fully charge it, its damage is pretty bad. This skill is in desperate need of a buff. It's not easy to combo into either. Like, this is pretty much the only combo that works. And even at that, you can't really continue the combo after it. See? Like, that combo won't work. It only works with this string. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do. You can't really continue the combo or anything. It just sucks. And the biggest thing that sucks about it is not just because of the fact that it takes forever to charge it and make it actually sort of have a bit of damage to it, but it's also just because of the fact that, yes, you can move around when you're charging this thing up, but it doesn't give you any kind of protection. It doesn't give you any protection at all. You're a sitting duck when you have this charging up like that. Anybody can just outright Ki Blast stun you, grab you, or even just burst dash at you like the AI likes to do a lot of the time. This skill seriously needs a buff. It either needs super armor, it needs some sort of cancel, or just something to make it more reliable, because this skill is, at the moment, one of the worst in the game. Then his second skill is Blades of Judgment, and this skill actually got a buff recently, but it also got a nerf. Its nerf was actually its damage. It actually used to do around 8k on a combo like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that anymore. Hold on, my controller's about to die. It actually does not do that anymore. Unfortunately, it's just, I don't know. This is another reason why I say that Dimps probably has some sort of vendetta against this cast, is because of the fact that they have just nerfed him so many times for no reason. And they didn't give him the damage buff that the majority of the cast received in that one patch either. But its buff was this. Whenever they explode off the ground like that and toss them in the air, before this patch, you were not able to continue a combo after that without a stamina break. Now, why they did this is beyond me, because it's basically impossible to set it up outside of this. It's a lot more efficient to just use it as a combo ender like that. It has a good amount of range as well. Do you believe its maximum range is about this distance? You can combo into it after his charge Ki Blast. Also, I should mention, I didn't actually show you, but no, you cannot link the charge Ki Blast into the Holy Wrath either. It's just too slow. That's another thing about Holy Wrath. We're not going to get back into Holy Wrath, actually. But it's actually really slow on travel speed. But Blades of Judgment, it's just an all-around solid skill. It's the only one that I'd say is honestly just... It's honestly just good. It's not the best. It definitely could be better. There's more things they could give it to make it a lot more efficient. But for what it does it well. And because you can combo it like this now, it gives it a little bit more utility than it once had. That's how the skill should have worked from day one, but you know Dimps, they do not know what they're doing a lot of the time. I'm convinced they literally just draw all these ideas out of a hat randomly. Then the other skill that he's got, his third skill, is Lightning of Absolution. If you're up close, it hits 3 times, and if you are at a far distance, it hits 2 times. And it is easily his highest ranged super skill. I mean, Holy Wrath does travel a good distance, don't get me wrong. It does, but it's not as efficient as Lightning of Absolution, because look at how Lightning of Absolution just homes in immediately. And it always combos too. That second hit will always combo. And if you do it up close like this, all 3 hits will always connect. This is an anti-lag attack. Lag will not stop this attack. Thankfully, that's one of the good things about it, is that it is very efficient in stopping a lagger. If somebody keeps lagging against you, if you do it point blank like this is a good way to stop them. The unfortunate thing about it, though, is that as you can see right there, its damage, even when you do it point blank like this and get all 3 strikes, is abysmal. It only does slightly more than Holy Wrath, uncharged. And this was actually worse at one point because it cost 2 bars of ki on launch. Whenever this character was first released, yeah, this actually costed more ki and still did the same amount of damage. Thankfully, it only costs 1 bar of ki now, but honestly, I think they should have just kept it 2 bars of ki and buffed the damage. That would have made a lot more sense, considering this is the attack that absolutely it absolutely destroyed Goku and Vegeta when he hit him with it. It ravaged those 2. This is another skill that needs a buff, to be honest. Make it 2 bars again, and just give it more damage, dimps. Now, the other skill that he has, his 4th skill, is his charge skill, which is Divinity Unleashed. Now, all this skill is capable of doing, I'm just going to use my ultimate attack real quick so I can drain my ki. It has the same charge speed, normally, as a full power charge. The difference is that whenever he starts talking during the charge, it activates a buff. And this buff, what it does, all it does is just give you a ki gain increase when you attack. Specifically when you attack. It's nothing that special, to be honest. It's a solid charge skill, and it doesn't take long to activate the buff. But the problem is, it's a charge skill in a game where charge skills have to be equipped instead of just, being a universal thing that every character can have like it was in previous games. Seriously, if there is a Xenoverse 30 in the works, please bring that back, dimps. I do not want to see charge skills, a million charge skills, being an option again. But that's besides the point. Now let's get to his ultimate attack, of which he only has 1. This is another reason he's kind of bad. He only has 1 ultimate attack, and this ultimate attack is... it's okay. It definitely could be better. Its wind-up is extremely long, and the worst part about this skill is that if you do miss, which this skill actually used to miss a lot, look at how long you are stuck in that pose, man. They have enough time to do a full... they have enough time to freaking, go and use the bathroom and stuff, and then come back and still be able to stamina break you afterwards. That's how long you're stuck in that animation. At one point, it was borderline impossible to combo into this thing consistently. Thankfully, they did give it a little bit more tracking, but even still, I still find it difficult to consistently land this thing in combos. And it actually does a very good amount of guard damage, as you see right there, as well. But let's be honest here, you're not just going to be throwing this thing out. It's got a very good amount of range, though. It has full range, actually. Oh, hold on. I didn't name it correctly. There you go. See, it does have full screen range. So it's not going to falter in terms of range, but when it comes to comboing into the dang thing, it can be a little bit tricky. Here, I'll just put him on guard real quick. This combo here, if you do not delay it, some of the times it'll just straight up go right over your opponent's head and miss. Though that also depends on the position you're at when it comes to the map. This is a problem mainly whenever you're in the air. See? If you're in the air, it'll completely miss. So if you want to do it when you're in the air like that, you've got to delay the blast. Because if you don't delay the blast, it will just outright miss. And you can combo into Lightning of Absolution after it. And that's actually something that's good about Lightning of Absolution, is that it is a full screen move that instantly just tracks in and hits whatever it's targeting. So it's a good move to end combos with, and you can land it right after his ultimate attack. But Divine Wrath Purification definitely does need a tracking buff so that it can hit more consistently in the air like that. But other than that, it's an okay ultimate attack. And then he's got Break Strike, which, I'll say it again, Dimps. 2 bar. The skill is not good enough to warrant costing 3 bars of stamina. But now that that's over, why don't we get into some optimization? I'm just going to show you a couple of clips, just giving you some ideas on what you can do in terms of optimization and just some basic stamina break kill combos. So just sit back and enjoy. So for Fused Zamasu's tech options, I'm not going to show you the really advanced Aura Reverse Burst Dash whiff, because that is extremely inconsistent and difficult to do. I'll show you me doing it in the tech compilation at the end of the video, but I cannot demonstrate it here, unfortunately. It's just way too freaking inconsistent and random to perform. but I will show you all of the tech that you can do relatively consistently. So, just sit back and enjoy. Maybe you'll learn something. First off, he's got this. He can slide underneath you with that combo. Hold on a sec, let me turn recovery off. All the tech that I'm going to do right here, you're going to have to do when their stamina broken. Just so you know. If he can slide underneath you like that, this combo also works. And you can also charge this combo as well to make it work like that. Then, he's also got this. You can use that blast to bounce them up and slide underneath them like that as well. And if you want to set this up, a good way to do it is like this. Very simple. All you're doing is just dashing forward. As soon as they're in the air, you're block canceling and then back hitting. It's very, very simple stuff. Then the other one that he's got is this. Right here after the shockwave, you're going to do the exact same thing, except you're going to do a long dash and then block cancel back hit. Then another thing that you can do is this, if you want, and though this is a little bit inconsistent, so just keep that in mind. You want this second hit to stun them a lot longer than that, so that you can actually back hit with that blast. Then you can go into the Toxic Karma tech. Shout out to him, by the way. You can also do it like this if you want as well. Or you can just simply go like this. Though it's a little bit more difficult to do if you do it with a regular Ki blast. You gotta do it kind of fast. Then the other thing that you can do is this. So keep in mind, this is pretty difficult. Because sometimes that can happen. What you're trying to do is you're trying to maneuver your character to go over their head slightly. So this is easier said than done, and I am going to be honest with you guys, this is one of the tech that I suck at the most. It's just very difficult to perform, very inconsistent, because you gotta perfectly time letting go of your stick, and you've also got to make sure that that character doesn't turn around. It's best to do it right here. There we go. But it is possible, as you see right there. The next thing I'm going to show you is this. After any kind of knockaway, if you land Holy Wrath at a far like that, you can back hit with triangle and then go square square, and it'll immediately make you turn around and teleport to them. You can either do it like I did right there, with these blasts. But be careful about that. If you back up too far, those blasts will whiff. The better option is to do it like this. You can tech off of it like that instead. You can also use this combo if you want. Land Lightning of Absolution like that. And then the other thing that he has is this. Jump hit setup. Keep in mind, though, certain maps will make this not work. The idea is that you're going to jump hit, and then you're going to back hit. You're going to delay that back hit a little bit, though. If you do it too fast, it will miss. Then the other thing that he has is this. Because you can go underneath them, you can also use your evasive like so. Do whatever you want after that. Another thing that you've got is this, and this is probably one of my favorites. Because of the buff they gave Blades of Judgment, if you set this up correctly, you can get a lot more damage, as you see right there, and a full combo. It's pretty sick, to be honest. Normally, you would not be able to do that. But because of the buff they gave this move, and because of the fact that they made it more consistent at exploding and comboing like that, it is possible to actually set that up now. Then the final thing I can show you is this, and that is the key slide setups for this character. Now, for key slides, he has two methods. You can either do it like this. It's a little bit awkward to perform. The idea is that you're going to use a single blast, and then you're going to use multiple regular key blasts to make it to where you're at just the right distance to where you can actually key slide. Because, as we all know, key sliding is something you can only do at a certain distance. It is a distance and timing thing. The way that I like to set it up is like this. You see that? And if you want, you can actually loop it. Don't know why it made me jump right there. It takes a little bit of practice. You're going to want to shoot at least like 3 or 4 key blasts before actually initiating the slide. Because if you do too many, it doesn't allow you to back and slide. You've also got to be careful about that. His back hit will whiff if they're stuck on the ground like that sometimes. So if you want to make it more consistent, you can actually do this instead. You're going to do that combo. Hold on a sec. Like I said, though, you gotta be careful. You gotta be pretty fast to do this. Otherwise, it just causes the back hit to whiff. So the better option for you guys would probably be this, to be honest. If you do it in the air, it's a lot easier to do. They do not have the chance of falling out of it due to lag. I can actually get this key slide off pretty dang consistently online. But it's a good way to end combos, and if you're in the front of them, it can actually set up Divine Wrath Purification, like so. Hold on. You gotta be very, very fast, though. Like, You cannot falter, you cannot be slow. If you're too slow, it will miss the back hit. You want the back hit to hit. You can do it like that if you want, or you can hit Divine Wrath Purification. Proceeding to mess up multiple times. Yes, I know. You're going to do one single blast after hitting him with that back hit slide, and then you're going to immediately go into Divine Wrath. It will hit confirm all the time as long as you are in the front, because if you're in the back, they will drop to the ground too fast and recover way too quickly. But anyways, that's all I can teach you in terms of tech. The more practical stuff, I mean, tech is not practical at all, to be honest, but this is at least more practical than the stuff I discovered earlier, which is the Aura Reverse Burst Dash. With that, just, you're going to see what I mean whenever you see it in the tech compilation. Thank you all so much for watching my video. If you enjoy this kind of content from me and want to see more, please support the channel by liking the video, maybe share it, and subscribe if you are new to my channel. I do my best to upload as often as I possibly can. Please enjoy this short tech compilation from me, and I will see you all in the next video. Sayonara.